Let's go.
My crazy neighbor poisoned my creek and stole water homeowner NFH. I just created this account because my friend suggested I post here and maybe get some advice too. I don't know how to format for Reddit, but he said to make sure that I did. I live on a large property with a small house in the front. There are many small hot springs in the semi-rural mountain area that I live in, with many used by homeowners in their backyard. Many are piped indoors, but some have hot tubs built around them. I happen to have a active one in my backyard. Picture an in-ground hot tub being fed in from the hot spring near my left neighbor's house. I'll call her CN for crazy neighbor. A small stream runs through the far backyards of the neighborhood, and it used for gardens and little nature areas that everyone on the street enjoys. I have my small fruit pepper garden watered by this stream and take really good care of it. For some visualization, it has a good amount of water flowing down, and everyone on the street uses it some way. My right neighbor, who's a really chill dude, who I'll call Jay, has small pools he made that are fed by the stream, and two neighbors down has a garden similar to mine. Now on to the actual story. When I bought the house, the previous owners were sued by CN, her claiming that the land was rightfully hers. I don't know the details of her argument, but it was thrown out, as far as I know. The previous owners warned me of CN and not to engage with her family. When I moved in, CN's kids, I'd say probably 8, 9, and 10, brought over cookies and welcomed me to the neighborhood. I thought that the previous owner was exaggerating, as they seemed sweet. I invited CN and her family to a small BBQ, and they accepted. The second that they got in the house, CN started to explain the rules of the neighborhood. I thought it was pretty normal, like to not play loud music after 9, keep your car in the driveway to keep the street uncluttered, etc. Common sense rules. Until she got to some rules regarding the stream and the hot springs. She said that kids were allowed in all parts of the stream, in private backyards, and that everyone could use each other's hot springs. I have the only hot spring on the street, so I was surprised by that. I interrupted her and told her that I wasn't comfortable with those, and she scoffed, saying that all neighbors were fine with it. I told her that I still wasn't comfortable with it. She ignored me, continuing with some questionable rules. The rest of the night was fine, but I felt like I wouldn't want to do it again. I talked to some neighbors across the next couple days, who all told me to steer clear of CN and that her rules were BS. I went over to CN's house and told her that I had talked to the other neighbors and that I wasn't comfortable with anyone being in my backyard without my permission. She scoffed and said, "Okay." I had a lunch with Jay and he told me who CN was, a serial suer with her lawyer on speed dial to get whatever she wants. CN had sued a small chain pizza place in town into debt for having peanut oil on her pizza when she was allergic to it. The pizza chain didn't even have peanut oil, and many people in the small community believed that she put it on, but still lost everything. I decided not to ever talk to her or her family. A week later, I got home from the grocery store to see CN's kids, I'll call them EKs for entitled kids, splashing in my hot spring tub. It's outside and usually has a lid on that two small kids would definitely not be able to take off as it is heavy and large. I tell them that they're not allowed in it and to leave my yard immediately, and they stand their ground, telling me that their mom, CN, told them that it was theirs and that they could use it. I told them that that's not true and to leave now. They finally do. Before you think that I'm an asshole for that, remember that pools, hot tubs are dangerous, and I don't want to be liable. I headed back out to buy locks for my gates. When I got back, CN was now there, demanding why I kicked her kids out. She reminded me of the rules, but I told her to leave immediately and that my security camera was recording. She cursed at me for a minute or two, then left. I was bluffing as I did not have security cameras, but I did order them on Amazon that night. The next day was fine, replanting a lot of my plants from my apartment's balcony into the empty garden, the one that's watered by the stream. I noticed that CN kept looking over the fence. For the following weeks, CN complained about the trees in my yard, the color of the fence, what I'm doing with the stream, etc. Jay occasionally came over and told her to F off. 3 weeks ago, I left for a couple days for a friend's wedding. I kept getting security alerts saying that there was motion in my backyard, often her kids playing in my garden, trampling my dear shishito peppers. I texted Jay to tell them to get out. If you're wondering why not call the police, they wouldn't do anything as they're just some kids. I had a suspicion that CN was telling them to do these things, but I didn't have much evidence. On the drive back, I got a security alert that there was motion in my backyard. I didn't check as I was driving, but when I stopped for gas, I checked and saw CN instructing a plumbing team installing piping from my hot spring into their yard. I had it save all of the footage and I sent messages to Jay about it. Jay told them that they weren't allowed to be doing that, but since it wasn't his house, they didn't listen to him. I called the police and they went, but they had already installed the piping. The team was just leaving through the gate with a broken lock on the ground when the police showed up. They said that they had been hired by the homeowner. The police waited for me to get there while talking to the team of workers, and I told them that I was the homeowner and that I hadn't paid them to do it. They looked confused. I went with the police into the backyard and I started ripping the unsecured piping out with a crowbar. Huh. CN starts shrieking from her yard and puts her head over the fence and starts yelling that I'm destroying private property and that she would sue me. CN then says that she has a contract with the owner of the house to have my hot spring water. The police are now confused. She shows a contract that read that she was paying me $2 per month in exchange for the water. CN won't give it to me so I could look at it, besides waving it around in the air. The police eventually leave and warn me not to destroy the piping. I ripped up the small pipe that connects to the source as she's telling me that she'll see me in court. I contacted my lawyer and she said that CN had no case, as she didn't know my signature and it would be easy to prove it was forged. I still haven't been served by CN's lawyer, but know that I will soon. In the meantime, I've been sitting in the hot tub for long baths while talking to myself loudly about how much I love it. Petty, but it made me feel good hearing the growls from across the fence. This is the final thing that made me post here. My garden wilting and dying at an unnatural rate. I heard a commotion out in CN's yard, and I peeked over and saw her slowly pouring a massive jug of chemicals into the communal stream, which goes down to mine. I don't know if it's herbicides, plant killer, or something like bleach. It doesn't smell like bleach, so I don't think it's that. But it's rapidly killing my plants. I haven't eaten any of the fruit peppers since, as I'm worried I might get sick. I think that if I can get definitive proof of her doing it, I can maybe use it in court to prove how crazy she is. People swim in pools from the stream, so I warned Jay not to for the time being and told him to tell others. I know one neighbor removed her garden from the soil and moved it away from the stream, just in case it got down to hers. I'm unsure of what I should do next. I don't think I live in a two-party consent state for video recording, as it doesn't list it as one on the PDF I found. I might cross-post this into legal advice just in case. I do already have a lawyer, but it might be useful hearing free opinions from the internet. Edit. I forgot to say that I had water testing sticks arriving tomorrow. TLDR. Crazy neighbor steals hot spring water and pours chemicals into communal stream, poisoning my garden. Update 1. Jay offered to use a large drum in his garage to temporarily remove the water from the stream, and seeing your comments, I'm taking him up on his deal. All the neighbors down the street that I've talked to so far, 2 besides Jay, agreed. One who has 2 sons said that they might block off the start of the stream. It is a small outlet of a moderately sized creek. It will probably be blocked off not that hard. Jay said that he can probably get the drum in place by tonight as his dad can help. Jay also has a sweet dog and definitely wants to protect it. I am going to remove my plants from the soil nearby the stream. Also, for reference in size of the stream, it's about 2 feet across. Truly just a stream. There's lots of obstacles and things that would probably filter out, but we definitely still have to be safe. I'll update later tonight or tomorrow. Update 2. Big news. The nice neighbor's kids dammed up the stream at where it starts. It's a couple pieces of wood, a branch or 2, and a lot of small rocks. There's still a tiny bit of water flowing, but it's absorbed by the soil higher up before CN. Jay got the drum out, but we turned out not to need it. There's water still in the pools in his backyard, and we plan to do a water test. Apparently, pH tests are sold in a store just 10 minutes away, so I will head there as soon as I finish this post. Update 3. Jay's getting the pH test and an oxygen level test, but I don't know how oxygen levels would play into it. I'll look at responses and figure out what to do next. I will call authorities soon. Update 4. The water test. pH came lower than the creek water before CN's house, a full point 0.9 lower. Nitrates a bit higher, dissolved oxygen significantly lower. That's the only real changes in between the two tests. I wonder if she just poured a lot of vinegar. I think herbicides do change pH, but zero point 0.9 is quite a bit, I think. Update 5. Big update. The makeshift dam broke and water has been flowing down, but it's been slow. CN complained to a neighbor up the street that she's on speaking terms with about me being a major asshole for not letting her kids use my hot spring tub. She let it slip that she poured household vinegar in the stream as justice. The neighbor was also shown the contract for the pipes, and she said that she didn't even have it signed by me. She and her lawyer had signed it, but without any signature space for me. I thought that she forged my signature, but she didn't have any agreement, fraudulent or otherwise, on my side whatsoever. The neighbor similarly dislikes her, but their kids are friends, so she has to talk to CN. I sent all the info to a local environmental charity that has contacts within environmental protection agencies. They usually deal with lakes and dumping, so this was in what they deal with regularly. The police were outside CN's house a couple hours ago and took her to the station. CN is back at her house now yelling over the fence profanities while I'm having a coffee. I don't know if they arrested her and she paid bail or that she just was taken in for questioning or something. I know her brother-in-law works at the police station, but I wouldn't doubt that her family members have a strained relationship with her. I hope that she's stuck with a giant fine and or jail time. CN's lawyer still hasn't served me regarding the pipes, and my lawyer is saying that CN has no case whatsoever. I'll update as soon as anything interesting comes up. Update 6. My power just went out in most of my house. I think CN just flipped the breakers to annoy me. Going outside ASAP. Update 7. CN indeed did flip the breakers. As far as I know, the security camera has an internal battery for some time after it's disconnected from the power, so I don't have to worry about her doing anything. Update 8. I called the owner of the copy/print/delivery shop, and he agreed to what I said in the previous post. I removed all of the pipes from my yard and put them into bags. I didn't have as much plastic bags and boxes as I thought, so I'm paying extra for the owner of the copy shop to supply them. He just delivered the first one to CN. I watched from the street, and CN's husband answered. He shouted for CN and she came up. I didn't hear any of the discussion, but she signed delivery sheet, took the package of a single small corner pipe piece, and stormed into her house. She went up to the second-story window and proceeded to glare at me, since still glaring as I sit on my couch while writing this. Working from home will be so nice for watching this. Update 9. Since my last post, there has been one more pipe delivery to CN, and she is pissed. She stormed over to my house after signing the delivery, which I thought she would stop doing, and banged on the door. I started recording my front door and opened the door. I'm not dumb enough to let her in. CN starts shrieking about how I'm awful and that I had to keep the pipes installed as it was her property and that we had a contract. When I told her that the contract wasn't legal at all, she starts screaming at me. I stepped inside for a second and called the police with the door closed. CN continues banging on my door. I don't open until a police car comes down the street. I tell the police that I don't want her ever to be on my property and that she is trespassing. They relay that to her, and she takes up a hurt old lady act. For reference, she is in her 40s. CN tells them that my hot tub burned her youngest child and that I was luring kids in. I showed the police the camera footage and they asked her to come to the station with them. I'm assuming that she made some fake report, but I guess that will be another charge of lying to a police officer. I think that the officer, not CN's brother-in-law, believed me and saw that she was in fact a CN. I saw CN get back into her house and once again went up to the top window, staring. I closed the blinds. I thought she would stop. Honestly, it doesn't bother me. But to my surprise, she crosses the street to the side of the hill. There's a slope on the other side of the street from the houses. There's more houses up the slope, and stares through my front window. I don't have blinds for that one, and was about to head to a different room when I see her trip backwards. There's a small ditch for runoff, and land on her butt. CN lets out an ungodly shriek. It wasn't that loud, but I'd like to say it was, as she storms back into her house. I feel at this point, with all of the stuff from my lawyer, from Reddit, and neighbors saying that I am completely in the right and that CN is insane has made this more into entertainment than a scary situation for me. I have multiple locks arriving in a couple days and a new security camera for the side yard. If you have any legal suggestions, please tell me. If there's anything I should be aware of, please tell me. Big update. The makeshift dam broke and water has been flowing down, but it's been slow. CN complained to a neighbor up the street that she's on speaking terms with about me being a major asshole for not letting her kids use my hot spring tub. She let it slip that she poured vinegar in the stream as justice. The neighbor was also shown the contract for the pipes, and she said that she didn't even have it signed by me. She and her lawyer had signed it, but without any signature space for me. I thought that she forged my signature, but she didn't have any agreement, fraudulent or otherwise, on my side whatsoever. The neighbor similarly dislikes her, but their kids are friends, so she has to talk to CN. I sent all the info to a local environmental charity that has contacts within environmental protection agencies. They usually deal with lakes and dumping, so this was in what they deal with regularly. The police were outside CN's house a couple hours ago and took her to the station. CN is back at her house, now yelling over the fence profanities while I'm having a coffee. I don't know if they arrested her and she paid bail, or that she just was taken in for questioning or something. I know her brother-in-law works at the police station, but I wouldn't doubt that her family members have a strained relationship with her. I hope that she's stuck with a giant fine and/or jail time. CN's lawyer still hasn't served me regarding the pipes, and my lawyer is saying that CN has no case whatsoever. I'll update as soon as anything interesting comes up. I also don't why on the first post of this update, it didn't contain the update Lolace.